Welcome, one and all. I'm Karen Simmons, President and CEO of the Chester County Community Foundation. Thank you for joining us this evening. We are pleased to bring such a generous group of community-minded people to the Uptown Theater for our 25th annual meeting. Oh, we made it. Now, I hope that you had a chance to stop in the lounge. If it was too crowded for you to get drink and food, don't worry. Afterwards, we'll have upstairs and downstairs both. So there's more refreshments to come. And along the way, I hope you take some time to learn more about the Uptown Theater and the fabulous events that are happening here, performances, classes, lectures. Who wants to go to Rocky Horror Picture Show for Halloween? Yeah, it's here this week. Yes, definitely. So now it is my pleasure to introduce you to the chair of our board of directors, Tony Morris, Esquire.
Thanks, Karen. I said to some of you, you'd probably see more of me tonight than you want to, but thanks for coming. This is, as Karen said, our 25th annual meeting, and we're well into our 25th year. We're in 10 months into the silver anniversary, and we've been having a great time looking at our past, and tonight we're going to look not only at our past, but the present and the future. You know, as many of you already know, our mission is that we connect people who care with causes that matter. And the reason we do that is so that their philanthropy can live now and forever and do good now and forever. It's my honor to be the chair of this organization. I actually have, even before I became chair, but I've really come to love it. I see a lot of what goes on throughout all of the different constituencies, and it's really a nifty organization. So tonight, we have a lot of our board members here. We have emeritus board members. I've seen some former board chairs. We have committee members and we have staff. And all of them give their time, talent, and treasure to further our mission. It's truly remarkable. Many of our financial professionals are here, and of course that's very important to this organization. They're financial professionals who are entrusted with 70+ million of charitable assets. And they're here today, and I hope that maybe they'll at least put out a wave. Adam Watson from BBD, and they're our auditors. And Jack Karakelian from Merrill Lynch, our stockbroker. I saw Chris Valerio earlier, and he and Phil Cook are here from Hurdle Callahan. And they're our chief investment officers at Hurdle Callahan. They formulate our asset allocation. They invest the majority of our endowed funds, and they aggregate the returns from each of our medallion partners, our medallion investment partners they are. And they're a very important group to us too, and they undergo stringent diligence criteria before they come on board with us, and then they invest separately managed accounts for our donors. We thank all of them for their diligence and attention in stewarding our finances and investments. And of course, our donors, they're the most important part of this whole thing. Without the donors, we wouldn't be here. And it's truly amazing to have their generosity to our community, and we pledge to be their faithful stewards now and forever. As you can see, I'm referring to some notes here, and Karen wants me to stay on script, but I have something else I want to say too. And it has to do with our staff. I talked about their time and talent earlier, but I'm in a unique position. I get to see what goes on at the Community Foundation with every constituency. I go to all the committee meetings. I go down to Hurdle Callahan. I see what goes on there. And you'd be amazed at what goes on behind the scenes to make this organization be what it is to the Chester County community. We have other foundations from all over the Middle Atlantic that come to a forum that's run by our organization at Hurdle Callahan in the springtime, or in the summer, I think it actually is. We run a trustee institute for our charitable organizations, our 501c3s that do so much throughout this county. And we run this trustee institute, and they all come to that and exchange best practices. It's truly amazing what goes on. And then we have our donors, and they can call all the time and talk to Karen and her staff about things that they need to know to make their giving meaningful in this community. And that's what goes on behind the scenes, not just these events, but they're important, but that goes on day in and day out, and it's what makes the Chester County Community Foundation the organization that it is. So with that said, I'll now turn it back over to Karen for some more remarks.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Tony, very much. It's good to have a chair who keeps coming back to every single meeting he possibly can, as all our chairs have, but we have more meetings these days, I believe. And Tony, you're taller than I am. There we go. So that's me. So you can see why our board, staff, and volunteers are so dedicated to our mission. We have the privilege of really helping you, very generous people, make great grants to good causes that you care about. And as Tony mentioned, we have a small but mighty full-time staff, and we are incredibly grateful for our interns from Westchester University, especially the accounting and marketing interns. And, okay, you see Lou's picture over there? Who here knows Lou Baccaria? Ah, everybody. Yeah, well, you know, that Lou Baccaria retired from the Phoenixville Community Health Foundation, but Lou's not retired because he has joined our team as a flex-time community engagement officer. So if you see Lou around, you'll be talking with him about the Community Foundation, I'm sure. So Lou, welcome to the Community Foundation Flex staff, all right? So Lou's going to help us reach out and inspire even more philanthropy, and thank you for that. So not only do we have a bunch of staff working on things, but we benefit greatly from the energy of our volunteers. As Tony mentioned, it's not just serving on committees, but our volunteers provide nonprofit training sessions and help with events like this one and others. Oh, like this one and some others, most definitely. Some sweet volunteer jobs are much more. Oh, yeah. You too can be a cupcake, all right? So this year, the Community Foundation paid out $3.2 million in grants and scholarships. Okay. But $43 million since we started, so that's a good number too. Yeah, that's a really good number, and it's growing and growing. And although we focus on Chester County, we make grants throughout the United States. And you can see from the grant distribution that we make all kinds of grants, places that you choose for arts, culture, education, environment, human service, social service, religion. It runs the gamut. And we make these grants because each of you are helping to make our community a better place to live, work, and enjoy. Now, over the past quarter of a century, isn't that amazing? The Community Foundation exists because of you. When our founders came together, you might remember the founders from up the top in front of Terracina back in Coatesville, and that's our 10th anniversary at Betty Moran's Brushwood Stables. This timeline we flashed on stage last year at the annual meeting and in the end report. It's in your end report again this year, but we have a nice treat. We made the timeline come alive. Our great friends at Tailor Made Media have put together a 9-minute and 34-second video. We time these things. And so why don't you join us and see what our founders and leaders say about the Community Foundation from day one. Aha.
The reason that the Chester County Community Foundation was started was as a result of Milt Apfelbaum. Mr. Apfelbaum was a successful longtime lawyer in Coatesville. When Mr. Apfelbaum passed away, to his credit, he decided to leave his estate to a charitable group. Because there was no county-wide charitable group for him to leave it to, he left it to the Philadelphia Foundation. And so people like Skip Houston were very instrumental in acting as the instigator for the initiation of the Community Foundation.
Skip is gregarious guy. He's a lot of fun, very bright, hard worker, and focused. When he decides something's going to happen, it happens, and that's the way he was with the foundation.
Well, the spark for the community foundation to me was energy. And I think we had a lot of energy for people in philanthropy. We wanted to see if we could refocus it into areas that was more meaningful for organizations in Chester County that needed it the most.
Skip and I were both very involved in the YMCA, and we were on the board here when it was in Coatesville. And so Skip invited me to come here to Terracina. And that's when we started to think that there had to be some way to empower all those individual donors. So we just thought it was time to bring together the people in philanthropy and other foundations. And then it mushroomed.
One of the things that was very unusual about the Community Foundation was the fact that we had 4 very prominent citizens of Chester County who decided to work together to start a foundation.
Skip, he brought compassion, trust, a generous spirit.
Carol Ware brought a lot of energy and great ideas. She actually brought a settling point to us at times, and we started getting excited about certain things, and she would calm us down a little bit.
Betty was impassioned about the things she truly felt were important, and she just snapped up the concept of empowering the whole county.
Henry gave us the background to move forward, to actually go into Philadelphia to try to talk to the Philadelphia Foundation. When he came back, he was more energetic than ever that we're doing the right things.
In many cases, they already had their own foundations. They certainly had their own causes that they had supported for many years. And it was a bit unusual to have them come together to agree to set up a new foundation that would help other people in the county be able to support their causes.
There was a communal spirit, an agreement among 4 of us with private foundations that we were doing not just the good of our individual funding, but the good of spreading those skills and that spirit to an entire county.
That's really why we were successful in getting the foundation off the ground and to grow to where it is today.
As any organization that is starting, there were struggles. There were struggles for sustaining financial viability. And because of the dedication of people like Dr. Jordan, Skip Houston, Betty Moran, and Carol Gates, they actually provided the financial sustainability for the organization to grow.
I remember Henry told me one time, he said, you know, I've run the Clenille Foundation for a number of years now, but I got to tell you, I've had more fun with the Chester County Foundation than I have with anything else.
And when Henry decided that we needed to have a new chair, we looked around. He eventually came to me and talked with me about doing it, and I said that I was willing to give it a try, so I followed Henry as the second chair. I felt like, I was trying to fill the shoes of a giant in the philanthropic world.
When John Featherman became chair of the board, he ended up steering the Community Foundation through some incredibly turbulent waters. And so we had some rocky times and some rough waves, but John really helped us clear a path.
One of the most important jobs of a chairman of any organization is to find a successor. Eva was very, very, very effective as a board member. She's very focused and a wonderful supporter of the foundation.
My time with the Community Foundation started in 1999. I succeeded Henry Jordan and John Featherman. I was the first woman to chair the Community Foundation. I know that there were people who sort of wondered, can a woman do this? But on the other hand, having been a woman scientist since the 1950s and been in male organizations, I was used to being questioned. And my answer was that if the 2 previous board chairs asked me to do it, I assumed that they thought I could do it.
Eva made sure that we stayed on course, kept to the task, and forged ahead. It took a no-nonsense chair, the perfect role for Eva. Over the years, each board chair has made significant incremental improvements to the Community Foundation. After all that planning work, imagine our surprise when we realized that we had reached our first decade. 2004 was a time to celebrate. Thank goodness Dave Freese was board chair. We laughed, we kicked back, and we made legacy philanthropy fun. It was a privilege to have Dr. Madeline Wing Adler as our board chair. She was astounding at helping us even further with community engagement. Plus, Madeline's distributed leadership philosophy gave everybody a chance to shine. When Lou Titai was board chair, we started our Imprints program and youth philanthropy in the schools. In 2010, Michael Carwick became board chair. A natural-born marketer, Michael helped us deepen and widen relationships throughout Chester County. Peter Temple helped us cast a wider net when he was board chair. We made sure and involved many more estate planning attorneys in the Community Foundation on committees, on task forces, and on boards. Peter also helped launch a medallion investment program to motivate investment advisors to become more involved with us. Bill Gallagher was an incredibly matter-of-fact, practical chair. He made sure we focused on our two core programs, family and individual philanthropy and nonprofit endowment building. Bob Rigg is an incredible ambassador. As board chair, he helped to deepen and widen our relationships throughout the county. He also helped to involve more CPAs in the Community Foundation. And Bob also launched our Smart Giving Circles to involve younger generations in philanthropy. When Tony Morris became board chair for our 25th anniversary, I think he assumed that we would just have one big party. Imagine Tony's surprise when we found that we could have a celebration so big the party would last all year. As Tony became chair, we developed a campaign to inspire, celebrate, and grow legacy philanthropy throughout the region. Everyone has a part: board, committees, staff, fund advisors, donors, professional advisors, nonprofits, connecting people who care with causes that matter. Together, we help to maintain the course set by our founders and leadership throughout the years.
Community Foundation stands for stability. It represents what is really good, I think, about Chester County, and the people who live in Chester County care about Chester County, but they recognize that there are needs, there are people who have serious needs, and the Community Foundation facilitates solutions for those people.
I just love the fact of being involved in a movement that can encourage philanthropy, not just among the people who are very wealthy, but it's a vehicle for people who don't necessarily have a lot of money, but want to do things philanthropically.
You know, it's a place where new leaders can come in and have a role and make a contribution. So if that just continues, the foundation will be in great shape, you know, going forward.
I would celebrate that a diverse group of people, both economically, professionally, and geographically, but all within Chester County, can come together and promote philanthropy.
The fact is, in philanthropy, it's filled with good people. So this is really an incredible field, philanthropy, community foundations, to be able to see people come in and make a difference in a small way or a big way. It's filled with good things.
I think that the whole idea of Chester County having a great charitable organization, that means a lot, and I just feel that they've done a fantastic job, and they're way over anything I ever expected at the beginning.
It was empowering, it was exciting, it felt like cutting edge, and I'm so glad that I was part of the ride.
And as Carol Ware says, it's been quite a wonderful ride. So a good first 25 years. Thanks to all who made the video with us, but even more so, thanks for everybody for making things possible over 25 years. So for this 25th anniversary, we had a three-pronged campaign: inspire, celebrate, and grow legacy philanthropy. Now, in a few more minutes, we'll do another video about all that, but let me focus for a while on the grow part, because I think that needs to be done in person. Let me describe how we've grown over this past year. We had two very straightforward 25 grow goals, I call them. Grow goal number 1 was to start 25 new funds this year. And grow goal number 2 was to have 25 people make arrangements for legacy gifts, to make planned giving commitments. Now, grow goal number 1, 25 new legacy funds. We didn't do it. We did a lot more than 25, isn't that great? Couldn't help it. It was 33 as of a week ago. I think it's 36 today. We've had a few new folks sign through. Is that beautiful? So, 36 new charitable funds have been created at the foundation. And as you know, some of the newest faces of philanthropy are highlighted right here. Thank you very much. This brings our total to more than 400 legacy funds that we hold in trust. Now, the majority of our funds are donor-advised funds, and they're endowed, and they're started by individuals and families, most of whom want to know more about issues in the region, but who, of course, have a good handful of issues they care about on their own as well. We also have field of interest funds, and field of interest funds focus on a special geographic region, perhaps, or a field of interest, arts, culture, education, environment, that sort of thing. And we have over 80 nonprofit endowment funds that will benefit specific nonprofits forever. And of course, scholarship funds. We know that education is incredibly important, and scholarship funds help with the cost of education now and forever. So you create these funds, and you decide where you want the grants and scholarships to go and grow. And we at the Community Foundation are honored to be a conduit for your legacy philanthropy. Thank you so much for all this. Okay, so we had that goal number 2, about 25 forward-thinking people thinking about leaving a legacy by making some arrangement in their will, their IRA, beneficiary insurance policy. Well, at our last count, we have more than 150 people who are now members of our Legacy Society. So that's right. Over 150 people have told us that they've made planned gift arrangements to benefit the charities they care about forever. So if you're pondering about what to do with your money at the time when you don't need it anymore because you can't spend it, stop pondering, just make a planned giving commitment and live a long, happy life. You know, I always say where there's a will, there's a way. I can't help it. I like a bad joke, a pun. So if you have questions about estate planning, you might want to talk to any of our door openers, who many of them are here in the room, to speak, or you can speak confidentially with our staff, or both. And as some of you know, we bestow the Door Opener Award annually to accountants, attorneys, wealth managers who excel at opening doors to philanthropy. And we're very proud to spotlight our door openers, especially our super door openers, Lou Titai and Peter Temple, who have opened doors to more than $10 million in philanthropy. That's pretty super. So this year, we are spotlighting, are you ready? Bing! Captain Patty! Patrick Cornelius O'Donnell, Esquire. Don't you love the Cornelius, right? Can I have an escort to bring you up on stage? And Honorable Cazone and Heron, would you also come on up too? This is our little housekeeping business. Anything else? Oh, Andy! Oh my gosh, Andy, please. Thank you very much. Very good. Come on up, and Tony, I'm going to turn it back over to you. I want you right here. Right here. Wait. I want you in front of this. There you go. Over here.
Be careful there.
Where do you want me?
Be careful, there's not a lot of room.
Andy, oh, you have your. Oh my gosh. Uh-oh. All right. I hate to do
You get one too for the foundation, 25 years.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're good? Okay.
Come on up here.
Oh.
So this is an interesting and unique story, and it's about Pat. Known far and wide for his long-standing civic engagement, and it's very true. He's of counsel to Gothric Greenwood. He focuses now on municipal land and estate issues. He served twice as a Chester County Commissioner. First, he was elected in 1979. They needed him back in 2007, and he was appointed. In addition to having served as a board member of the Chester County Bar Association, he's also served on our board, the Chester County Community Foundation. He's also served as a board member and volunteer for scores of Chester County nonprofits. Just a few are the Chester County Historical Society, Family Services of Chester County,
A long time ago.
Good Fellowship Ambulance Club, Planned Parenthood of Chester County, and the Westchester Friends School. And that's just a few. This man's involved. He first met Nancy Petersen when they both worked at Legal Aid. There's another one. They became good friends and both are actively involved in deeply spirited, informed, compassionate civic engagement. Very true. As a reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer, Nancy covered Chester County. She covered politics, social justice, community development, and environmental issues for over 2 decades. In 2011, she was retiring to the Eastern Shore of Virginia and was doing some estate planning. And she made arrangements in her will to leave a portion of her estate, where there's a will, there's a way, to the Chester County Community Foundation. Upon her passing in 2017, her estate attorney and close friend, Pat O'Donnell, recommended that Nancy's estate gift to the foundation be earmarked for the grant-making fund for Chester County, so that the Community Foundation can make grants to honor Nancy's commitment, her civic engagement and environmental concerns, and that'll be going on in perpetuity, thanks to Nancy and thanks to Pat guiding her legacy gift. Because of this, we're pleased to present you with our Door Opener Award, as you may have guessed. In all seriousness, we're very privileged to have you be so engaged with our community, and thank you. Say a few words.
Go ahead. I trust you.
You know, I don't do this very often, so. Thank you. My second term as county commissioner was taking the big shoes of Andy Dinneman when he won his state senate race. It was a wonderful opportunity. Thank you. I always thought when I served a term on the board of the Community Foundation that was like the pinnacle of my life. But it turns out that tonight is. I mean, you know, isn't it wonderful? Nancy, as Tony mentioned, Nancy and I go way back. After she worked for Legal Aid, she went on the wagon train. You may not remember this. In 1976, they ran a wagon train, a real wagon train, like wagons and horses and all that sort of stuff. Probably some whiskey. From the West Coast to the East Coast. They were due in Valley Forge on July 4th. By the time they got in, President Ford had come and gone, the bicentennial celebration had come and gone, and there was sort of nobody left at the park. But they had a good time. After that, she went to the Point Reyes Bird Observatory in California, where she developed a great sense of birds and a great love for birds. That was before she went to the Inquirer. When she died, it was unfortunate we couldn't find her life book, you know, where they keep a list of all the birds. Oops. And that was sort of unfortunate. There were 2 takeaways, though, I'd like to just share with you. Nancy was never a rich woman, and she had a modest estate. She left half her estate, the bulk of her estate, to the Community Foundation. And that was a very substantial gift. But she also left money to Natural Lands Trust, which most of you know, to the Eastern Shore Land Trust in Virginia, that takes care of the eastern shore of the Chesapeake, to a group in Washington State called the Cooper Island Fund, and to Traveling Mercies, a fund which helps do education opportunities for children to learn about the environment. So her relatively small estate just served a whole lot of people. And I think we can take some hope from that, that all of us will, no matter how large our estate, will keep Karen and the Community Foundation in mind. The other is, Nancy was a very active member of her community. The other takeaway is she was a very active member of her community. When she was living in Onondaga in Virginia, she was active in the library board, she was active as a birder, she was active in politics. But towards about the last couple of months of her life, she fell into depression. Anyway,
Hard living alone.
she wasn't answering her phone, she wasn't answering her mail, she has classic signs of depression, but she didn't do anything about it. When she had an illness, a very serious illness, the doctors said that they could operate on her and fix it, maybe. They weren't sure, but they could fix it. And Nancy said no, she didn't want it. So that's why she died. So those are my two takeaways. It's great to have this award, thank you. And thank you all. Did I say this? I always thought that my highlight was being on the board, but this is really good. So thank you. Thank you. Okay.
We got people who want to say this. Would you all like to say just a little? Yeah. Stand there. Here, hold on to this.
This is a group, of course Andy wants to say something.
The test is whether I can say a little, but I will. Patrick and I have been friends since the 1970s. I can't think of a better person who we can give this award to. Pat was dedicated to working for this county ever since, even before his county commissioner, and certainly afterwards. And when I went off to the Senate, I also couldn't think of a better person to take my place. So each of us have an opportunity in our lives to leave a record, to leave a scroll, so to speak. Nancy did this through her donation to the foundation. Patrick has done this. I finally learned your middle name. I always wondered what the C was for. Cornelius. Yeah. There's actually a St. Cornelius, too, isn't it?
Yeah, well, my granddaddy was Cornelius High Pockets O'Donnell.
I love it. So that, and each of us has that ability to do it. And Pat has written his legacy by so much of his service to our county. And we all are very proud of you, Patrick, and everything you've done. We're proud of Hannah, and because, you're a good partner, Hannah, in all this endeavor. And he has the best life of all. Half of the time in Bermuda, usually when it's cold, and the other half of the time in Chester County. Congratulations. And allow me to present you with a citation in which the Senate recognizes your achievement and it becomes part of the permanent records of the Commonwealth. Pat.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Kathy Kazone. I'm one of your 3 county commissioners, successor to Pat O'Donnell.
And Andy Bennett.
And Andy, but directly successor to you. It's a great privilege for me to be here this evening on behalf of the Board of Commissioners to join with you in recognizing Pat for the Door Opener Award this evening. I know how close you and Nancy were, and I know that this is what she would have wanted because I know how much she trusted you. But I think it's also fair to say thank you for all of the work that you have done in the county Some of the boards and all were mentioned before. But you might spend part of your time in Bermuda, but I know that your heart is in Chester County. And we are truly grateful for the difference that you've made in our community overall. So congratulations to you, and I bet you've seen these before.
Yeah.
It's
I've never received one.
you never got one? So there's a first time for everything. Congratulations, Pat.
Yes. So good evening, everyone. I'm Diane Herron. I'm the mayor of Westchester. And when I first moved to the borough, I live very near Pat, and I'd see him all the time. He'd be walking his dog and wearing his captain's hat. And I was like, when I first moved in, who is this guy? Me too. I found him to be so incredibly friendly and so approachable, and in hindsight, so humble, given all of the incredible gifts that he's brought to our community. And I just have to say, he really knows a good cigar, too. But I am really privileged here today to honor you for everything you've done. And I did look into Nancy Lynn Petersen, and I wanted to say just a few things about her as well. I learned that she was integral in starting Philadelphia's first Earth Day, which I thought was amazing. And she was a reporter for the Philadelphia Inquirer, and this is what one of her colleagues said about her, which I loved. She was modest, cheerful, smartly subversive, generous to colleagues, and totally plugged in to the community she served. What a beautiful statement about her. So I certainly would have loved to have known her, but I and all of the citizens of Westchester are very grateful that, in a way, we do still know her, and we always will, thanks to the legacy that you've helped create. So thank you so very much.
We're also proud to present for the Rectors of the Commonwealth a celebration of the 25th anniversary of this organization, and which pays tribute to the Senate pays tribute to the wonderful work that you've done and the number of people who you've helped. So thank you and congratulations.
I have the bag.
Oh,
Yeah.
isn't that handy?
There we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you keep it, all of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everything. Have a seat.
Thank
We got
you.
another video.
Oh, sorry.
No, don't be sorry. So Beth is going to help everybody back down there. Thank you very much. You can see that we have grown by leaps and bounds because of the generosity of people in the community. Hannah, he's got a really nice bag full of stuff. So as we look to this past year, where we really focused on inspiring, celebrating, and growing legacy philanthropy, now you've seen a bit how we've grown philanthropy with the Door Opener Award, with Pat and Nancy's legacy, with the 25-plus funds started, with plan giving commitments, and glorious went those. Let's see what we did throughout the year to inspire and celebrate philanthropy. Let's cap the year in an 8-minute video by TaylorMade. Ready? When we realized we were coming up on our 25th anniversary, of course, we decided to create a committee to help us figure out what to do. After a series of meetings, we had brainstormed hundreds of ideas and looked across the country to see what other community foundations do to celebrate their anniversaries. And when it came right down to it, the ideas could be sorted into 3 categories. For our 25th anniversary, we developed a 3-pronged initiative to inspire, celebrate, and grow legacy philanthropy. So as we looked to our 25th anniversary, we realized that we had over 400 individuals who had started legacy funds at the Community Foundation. We started out by choosing 25 faces of philanthropy from our first 25 years at the Community Foundation. What we decided to do was take the 25 faces of philanthropy and splash them all across Chester County in a myriad of ways.
Our banners in downtown Westchester were a big part of our inspiring and celebrating our 25th anniversary.
The banners in Westchester I thought were really significant because it's told the folks in the county seat we were here and what was happening this year.
The 25 faces of philanthropy were stories, so we splashed them across social media throughout the year. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. We also featured our Faces of Philanthropy in posters throughout Chester County and asked all our partners to display those posters throughout the year.
Another way we inspired and celebrated philanthropy this year was with County Lines magazine in its spring issue. We actually helped to co-edit that issue, which was dedicated to philanthropy.
We were able to feature stories of philanthropy, plus help with the charity activities that were going on in the region. So it was a great way for County Lines magazine to work together with the Community Foundation in our 25th year.
One of the very important things we did to inspire philanthropy was our TED Talks. The TED Talks are a great example of the convening power of the Community Foundation to bring people together for philanthropy. We've been in the northern part of the county up at the Colonial Theater. We were here in Westchester at the Uptown, and then we were down at Longwood Gardens. We had different panels at each one of the 3 TED Talks, and people were chosen to have different points of view with regard to philanthropy and to get the discussion going. We tried to pick topics that were a little bit maybe out of the mainstream and a little bit controversial.
I think events like this really bring people together from all diverse backgrounds, and you get a chance to really express yourself and hear people's ideas. Maybe you'll even shift your perspective a little bit before you leave that evening.
It's just a great resource for people. You get different points of view from leaders through all walks and all businesses and nonprofits, and I think it's a really, really important thing, and I definitely look forward to the next TED Talk.
The Community Foundation has been holding Sweet Charity each spring for over a decade. So it was only natural that this year, for our 25th anniversary, we have a Silver Sweet Charity.
Sweet Charity is often called a fundraiser, but in fact it is a friend-raiser. It's a way to raise our profile in the community. Because of the sweets, it's fun. Everybody enjoys eating the desserts, drinking the libations that are available, and then voting on the winners. So it keeps it interesting because there's a contest and it's delightful to eat the dessert. So it's just a great event.
I really like the competitive nature of it. There's nothing I like better than watching bakers compete viciously with one another. It's exciting, and it's exciting for a community to watch.
Sweet Charity was held at Whitford Country Club, as it has been for the last several years. It's a beautiful facility, but also they have a charitable fund with our Community Foundation, so we like the connection that's made.
To date, Whitford Country Club has donated more than $1 million to charity through its Chester County Community Foundation Fund.
I'm sure people would say their favorite part of Sweet Charity is the chocolate.
Chocolates. Yeah, I love chocolate. So.
But I actually think it's bringing people together in a way that you may not get to see people on a regular basis. The foundation has done a really nice job of creating an event that's very creative, that excites people, but also accomplishes that community building goal.
I am not a giant chocolate fan.
I can't believe it. He must be from some other galaxy or something not to like chocolate.
Cupcakes, not a big fan of cupcakes.
I actually like cupcakes, except this year at Sweet Charity, there were phony cupcakes walking around, and they were a little frightening.
I grew up in a small bakery. My creator picked me up out of the oven and put some icing on me, took some sprinkles, and once they landed on me, it was a very magical experience.
We knew we had to have some kind of reception or big party to celebrate our 25th anniversary. We were delighted when Franny and Franny Abbott hosted us at the Abbott Barn.
Franny Abbott is the daughter of Betty Moran, who is one of our founders and who has been a great philanthropist throughout Chester County and beyond.
From our 10th anniversary at Betty's Barn to our 25th anniversary at Franny and Franny's Party Barn was a tremendous, tremendous honor.
It was a blue sky and warm day, and one of our board members, Mike Horak, did wine tasting.
The 25th anniversary, there was a great vibe in the room. There were a lot of people that were having fun and that were making connections. Personally, I saw a lot of people that left and were exchanging business cards and joining committees on different nonprofit organizations. It truly was a great day for everyone involved.
25 years connecting people who care with causes that matter so their legacies make a difference now and forever. Cheers!
When we talk about growing philanthropy, we actually set two very concrete goals. One of the goals was for our 25th anniversary, we wanted to have 25 people start new legacy funds at the Community Foundation. Within a few months into our 25th anniversary, we knew we would far exceed the goal of 25, and we have. Our second goal for growth was to have 25 individuals make planned giving commitments to their fund at the Community Foundation. We're proud to say that we have far exceeded our goal. Far more than 25 individuals have made planned giving arrangements so that their money will come to the Community Foundation when they don't need it anymore. So, it has been wonderful fun throughout the year to inspire, celebrate, and grow legacy philanthropy. The momentum and the energy have been fabulous. So what lies ahead as we bring our 25th anniversary to a close? For that, I'd like you to hear from our esteemed board chair, Anthony Morris, Esquire. Take it away, Tony.
That was good, wasn't it? It has been a good year. Thanks. And actually, before I talk about the future, I just want to talk about this year. It was Inspire, Celebrate, and Grow that were our bywords. And I was looking at the timeline, and Dave Freeze made it fun in the 10th year. And I hope that people 25 years from now look back and say this year was fun. But one thing I think we're going to be able to say is that you'll always be able to say Inspire, Celebrate, and Grow. I mean, all of that works in any given year. And I think it'll still be working 25 years from now. But it has been a wonderful year, but now we're starting to look towards the future. And in the near future, we're going to be doing some more of those TED Talks that you saw about, and we'll be at the same locations, up at the Colonial, here at the Uptown, and down at Longwood. And they truly are remarkable, and they're inspiring in their own right, and we hope that you'll make it there, and you're certainly welcome. The other thing you saw about our Sweet Charity event, it won't be our silver Sweet Charity, it'll be 25 plus 1, but it'll be just as much fun, and we'll have a great time. So please join us at the Whitford Country Club this spring when that comes about. And then in the summer, we'll be back at the Gaylor Estate and Winery for our Chair's Choice reception. And that'll be when Mike DeHaven's taking this spot as board chair, and somebody in that video said that it's important to choose a good successor. Certainly is, and you'll be in good hands with him. So, and then more immediately, in November also, we're starting a strategic planning initiative, and our first forum will be up at the Westchester Country Club on November 19th. And we're a collaborative organization, as you can see, And our constituency includes all of you in the community. So anybody who wants to be involved with that on the 19th should be in contact with the staff and with Karen or Beth or anyone over at the Community Foundation for that event, and you can sign up. So now we're sort of bringing this meeting to a close, and I appreciate you all being here very much. There's some receptions out there on the first and the second floor. As you leave, you'll see that we're partnering with Westchester Malcolm Johnstone, who's publishing a book on Lincoln's influence in Chester County, on Chester County. And you'll find some bookmarks out there that explain a little more about that. But most importantly, I want to thank all of you. We're grateful for all of you do to make our community a better one, and you truly do, and you truly inspire others to help join in that effort. So thanks very much, and enjoy the evening. Thanks for being here.